7 races remain in American flat track, and 5 of them will take place on the big tracks like this. It's the Law Tigers Sacramento Mile, presented by Cycle Gear, the kickoff to the stretch run for the 2019 championship.
Flat track motorcycle racing. Just to recall what it was like in the beginning, let us take a quick look
back at the turn of the section.
It takes stout lads like them to go for this kind of competition. It's trials like this that have made the two-wheel little giant the tough piece of mechanism it is today. Take a look at this motorcycle.
Each of today's races draws large crowds from all over the country.
It's a revolution.
Testing and bettering, testing and perfecting. Right up, cowboy.
The wave of the future.
You got a good start anyway.
Yeah, and we'll see how hot I was the whole time.
Every chance I get to race, I enjoy it.
What will you do? How hard are you willing to go? Will you let fear win? Or will you rise?
Big one for Jared Mees.
And find victory.
Shayna Dexter takes the win.
It changes the way we look at racing.
Briar Bauman now has to try to hold on to the championship points lead on a track that is a specialty of Jared Mees, who's won the last 2 titles and is second in the standings so far this season. But you also have to deal with the master of the miles, Brian Smith. It's been a very tough season for him, but the big tracks are where he shines. Shayna Dexter, similar skills on a mile track in the singles division. She battled it out with Mikey Rush for a win at the Red Mile earlier this season. Rush needs a good race to get back up front in the series standings because Dalton Gauthier has now taken control of that class and will also race AFT Production Twins today as well. Jason Wygant joined by the master wheelman AJ Allmendinger. Kristen Beat will be reporting for the racetrack. There's beautiful downtown Sacramento, just a few minutes away here at the Cal Expo Fair. Let's talk points, AJ.
Briar Bauman, the last couple of races been back and forth between Jared Mees. Who can take the advantage on these big racetracks? That is key. Jared Mees is so good on these miles.
Yeah, and he had those circled. This race was actually rescheduled from earlier in the year when it was rained out. Mees says this back half with all these miles might serve him well in the standings. So let's talk about this track a little bit.
First race held in 1959. This is a racetrack that I grew up going to. Very close to San Jose, California. My dad and I would come to this race. I've probably been to it 5-6 times as a kid. I love this race. Always close finishes.
Yeah, the mile racing is going to come down to a draft, probably a photo finish at the line. Should be fun to watch. Let's send it to Kristen Beat.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. We are back to racing on a mile here in Sacramento, and earlier in the day I spoke with Mikey Rush about some of the strategy that encompasses racing on a track like this. One thing that he told me that I found very interesting is the strategy of moving his arm to create more aerodynamics. He told me that he'll actually move his hand from the grip down here to this part of the handlebar on the straightaway. So literally hanging on with one hand going down this straightaway, going about 115, 120 into turn 1. When he explained that to me, I thought how challenging that must be, but he said they have been doing it all of their lives. It is something that is natural for them, but definitely as a fan, it is a spectacle to see.
And certainly comfortable with the speeds here is Jared Mees. Spectacular race last year, typical close finish in a mile. He came out on top, and he needs this race to get back on track. Was expecting to do well at our last event at Black Hills. It did not come together for the champ. We're going racing here in Black Hills.
The Rapid City Half Mile is probably one of the best prepped half miles on the circuit. Multi-line racing, you carry a lot of momentum in the corners. The track's usually pretty dang smooth. It's definitely a place that we look forward to going to when we go out for the Sturgis Bike Rally. This year at Black Hills, it was a little different for me than the last 2 years.
Mees has caught this group. Look, no, Mees goes down.
Wow.
About halfway to go, I was going into the corner. I had a problem and fell down, and it was a big chaotic wreck.
Fisher decides to go into the air fence to dodge Jared Mees. Pearson has nowhere to go.
Ooh.
Fortunately, I got so very lucky that Davis avoided me and also Robbie Pearson.
Really get an idea of how quickly all this unfolds.
Yeah, I was scared. I mean, I think as I was going down, I was bummed and mad because I just made some points up on Briar at Buffalo Chip, and here I am losing them. But honestly, after seeing the race and the way I was missed, it was I was more thankful than anything. And fortunately, none of us got any serious injuries that are keeping us out of the Sacramento Mile. Just a couple bike tear-ups for them guys.
championship might go between one of these two.
Battling Briar it's like battling another opponent. I mean, he's definitely matured a lot from last year to this year. He's got a great team behind him. He's hitting his marks, and he's able to bounce back when he's got a problem. So he's showing that he's putting in the effort and the work and signs of being a champion. In 2018, I really felt like I had the main control of the race.
He's gonna go for it. No, Mees holds on and wins the Sacramento Mile.
I was really happy to be able to win the Sacramento Mile. It was my very first one. It was a good one to win. This year, I've got 3 wins so far. It's definitely not where I was this time last year, but the way the season's been going, it's been up and down for both Briar and I. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not giving up, and I'm gonna fight this thing to the end.
And that's why we look so forward to the racing tonight here in Sacramento. And here is Jared Mees in second behind Davis Fisher, showing you how it's done.
Draft down into turn 3, gets by Davis Fisher, and from here, Jared Mees would show his dominance, winning by over 2 seconds.
Yeah, which is a huge lead on a track like this because of the draft. It's hard to pull away. Bronson Bauman finishes up in third. And then Bronson gives his older brother and the series points leader, Briar, some notes as the number 14 goes into semi number 2, and clearly those notes paid off. There's Briar all the way on the outside. Good challenge from Jeffrey Carver on the 23. He's always good on these tracks, and they're battling up front.
Starts are so key around mile racetracks. Briar Bauman gets a great launch, leads off turn 2.
And you wait for that draft to come into play, but it's not going to happen because Carver's bike breaks. But luckily, they built up a big enough lead where he's still going to finish 8th and get a transfer spot into the main. Bauman wins by a big margin over Smith. Shout out to 102, 7th place, Gary Ketchum, 59 years old. Qualified for his first main ever. That is an awesome story we'll watch tonight. But the biggest story of all will be Bauman and Mees win their semis in the main. As for the singles class, Mikey Rush and RMR Honda, a lot of technology going into their program to try to gain speed on the miles. We'll dig into that next. American Flat Track on NBCSN is brought to you by Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. If you go down, call Russ Brown. By Roof Systems of Dallas, Texas, the entitlement sponsor of AFT Singles. And by Cat Rental Store, the official heavy equipment supplier of American Flat Track. It's the Roof Systems AFT Singles class. Here are your standings.
Dalton Gauthier leading by 10 over Dan Bromley. Mr. Consistency. Lots of podiums, lots of top 5s. Doesn't have that win yet, but starting to track down Gauthier for the lead.
Mikey Rush had the points at one point. They're working hard for a better run tonight.
3 weeks ago, me and the Richie Morris Racing Honda team went to the wind tunnel. Basically, they strapped my motorcycle down with a billet piece of metal on the rear wheel and then a strap on the front wheel, and I got on it and sat on it in our natural tuck position that we do on the miles. And the wind started out at about 40, 45 miles an hour, and they were blowing the smoke over me and seeing where the wind was dragging over my head and down the side of me and everything like that. That is radical. Words can't explain that, that's for sure. They told me we were going to get up to 130 miles an hour wind, and they actually went up to 150. So it was a lot different than we are on the racetrack. A lot of pressure. You got to hang on pretty tight.
Too long of a pause. You're just sitting there.
I was waiting to sit up and flick the thing into the corner. It was a real cool experience. I learned a little bit, for sure, on like seating position and tuck positions. And sometimes I think I'm sitting the right way and tucking the right way, but we tried a couple different positions and we found one that was actually better, where I can dip my head and get the wind to go over me better and taking your hand off. We collected enough data, I think, to help us quite a bit. It could help us just a hair, or it could help us this much, it could help us this much. I mean, but every little bit on these high-speed tracks helps. So if it was only a couple centimeters or whatever, I'm gonna try it, because it might help us in the long run, for sure.
Yes, and when you're racing in the mile tracks, 1 centimeter, 1 mile an hour could make all the difference. A great battle here in Semi 1. Rush in the 15, Shayna Texter in the 52, Red Bull KTM, Chad Coast in the Suzuki. He won our last race. This is the last lap.
Shayna Texter off of turn 4. She's been very strong all day here. Something to look for in the main event. coming to the line, was able to get tucked, draft around Mikey Rush, wins semi number 1.
That is unbelievable. From about a bike and a half length back to a fairly sizable lead by Miles Standards at the end. That's a draft. Coast almost gets Rush. Ahead of Gautier, your points leader, finished 4th. Let's go to semi number 2, Tristan Avery in a good battle. Dallas Daniels, the 16-year-old rookie right there.
Kevin Stallings making a run to the line, could not get Tristan Avery for the win. Stallings would settle for 2nd.
Solid run for Daniels in his first mile. Finishes up in 3rd, and his teammate Ryan Wells, Estenson Racing, up in the top of that group as well. So now we are ready. The lights are on. Nighttime has begun. Our singles main event on the mile track about to take place. Shayna Texter, always a favorite on these mile tracks. And Mikey Rush had the points lead in this series, but the last 3 races did not qualify, then a 14th and a 7th. Has to at least get back on the podium tonight. Ryan Wells and his teammate Dallas Daniels there in the Estenson Racing Yamahas. Let's see what they have under the hood. With the blue crew, it is the Russ Brown starting lineup for the Sacramento Mile in the singles.
It's hard to pick a favorite. Shayna Texter, Mikey Rush, always strong, but a big pack of riders that could win this race.
Oh, it's going to be so good. You got drafting, you're going to have pack racing, and we are about to get into it. All the way on the right side, Dan Bromley, 2nd in the series, 9th on the grid, and Bromley's one of the bigger riders out here, so aerodynamically, he's got a little bit of a struggle to come from behind. We're underway. Yamaha boys look to have it dialed, at least on the low line. No, Shayna Texter's gonna edge them out. Believe that is Daniels in the number 2 spot, and Rush right there in 3rd.
Shayna Texter, not really known for great starts, gets the whole shot down the back straightaway here. First lap, we can already see a big draft forming.
99 of Stallings, 15 of Rush, and Dallas Daniels there on the outside. Let's see how the grooves form in, and they are all over the leader, Texter.
Off of turn 4 here. They're already starting to collect data. Who can pass who down the front straightaway? We see Mikey Rush gonna lead lap 1, passing Shayna Texter.
All right, so that's pass number 1. We'll probably lose count as this race goes on. Front stretch and back stretch, you'll see a lot of action through here. Dallas Daniels, what a job by the rookie who had to wait till the halfway mark of the season to be old enough to even be able to race pro, and he has learned in a hurry. He's right in the pack.
Into turn 3, Mikey Rush is able to hold on to the lead. Shayna Texter kind of feeling him out, trying to figure out where she is quicker than Mikey Rush.
All right, so it was Texter grabbing the whole shot as soon as that wheeling green light came on, but Rush took it away. Now Texter's drafting back to reclaim the lead. Taking advantage of the draft back there. AJ, look at this. This pack, it was 4 riders. Now I can't even keep track. It's about 8 in the lead pack now.
See here, off of turn 2. See Dan Bromley right at the tail end of it, trying to hang on to this draft. That's big for the championship, but Mikey Rush into turn 3, got it, into the lead.
Tristan Avery following their every move from 3rd. Let's see if he can get in and maybe make a run for the lead, but right now it's Rush on the RMR Honda and the Red Bull KTM of Texter duking it out. They're the only riders to lead so far, but look at how many other riders are looking for an opening.
Avery looking to the inside, gets around Shayna Texter for 2nd.
All right, let's see if Avery now can draft Rush to grab the lead. A pair of Honda riders out front now. Dallas Daniels still there with his Yamaha teammate, Ryan Wells, behind him. And you're right, Bromley's at the very end of that group. Here's the pass attempt for the lead. No! I thought it was going to be Avery, but instead Texter goes from 3rd to 1st.
That's big right there to figure out that you're able to behind 2 riders, be behind them, and know that you can get the pass done into the corner. That's something that Shayna Texter is going to hold in her pocket at the end of this race.
And now the draft working in Rush's favor. Avery trying to do it. Let's see if they can split the lead, or they do. Whoa, that was close.
Very tight getting into turn 1. Seems like Mikey Rush really wants to lead this race.
Stallings of the 99 is right in the hunt as well. Let's send it to Kristen with more on Shayna Texter.
Shayna Texter said with the heat, guys, it's about 83 degrees out here today. Hydration has been a priority. She said making sure that she refuels with some Pedialyte in between these races is part of her strategy.
Yeah, 15 laps. That's the typical main event length, but this race a lot longer because the lap times are longer on the big track.
Yeah, for sure, and everything you do, hydration during the summer here is important. As she retakes the lead into turn 1, what passes that about number 10 already for the lead?
Well, yeah, so we're talking about hydration from the physical standpoint, but mentally, what a stressor this has to be. It's chess at over 100 miles an hour.
Just trying to figure out, where do I want to be? Do I want to be leading? Do I want to be second? Maybe third? We see a 4-rider breakaway right here just for a second. Stallings there, but Mikey Rush on board on the Honda, into the lead again into turn 3.
Well, we had that feature at the top of the show, the extra wind tunnel work they did. Maybe that made the difference back there, or maybe it will make the difference later in this race, because it seems like Rush is able to get the lead back whenever he wants it, but Shayna off of 4, just like the semi-race in qualifying. She takes the point position, and now Rush down to the bottom, trying to retake it.
Shayna being so strong off turn 4, you know Mikey Rush, that's probably going to frustrate him. He's going to have to figure out, I probably can't lead this race off of turn 4. I'm going to have to do something different. We see Kevin Stallings, Tristan Avery, Ryan Wells.
Can't even keep track. So 5 riders in the screen right now, all with a shot at it. Bromley, Kos, and Gautier's at the back of that group. That's your series leader. So he and Bromley, they're battling right now for the points lead, and they're battling to move forward. And there's a spectacular battle up front with Rush and Texter passing each other nearly every chance they get. Stay with us here from Sacramento. Tremendous action here. The Law Tigers Sacramento Mile presented by Cycle Gear. This is your singles class. It's always competitive, always wide open, but on a mile track, it goes next level. Shayna Texter leads. Tristan Avery on the 16, though, takes it away. And now Ryan Wells in the hunt from 3rd in the 94.
Dan Bromley starting to creep in there now inside the top 5 as we come with 3 to go.
Bromley started 9th on the grid. He has systematically worked his way forward. He needs to. He's 2nd in the points. Your leader in the series, Gautier, is 8th. But Shayna Texter seems able to pass at will.
Yeah, Jason, that's a big deal. It's so easy for her to get such a good drive off turn 4. Knowing that she can pass Mikey Rush or Tristan Avery before the start-finish line with ease makes it better for her going down the back straight knowing she doesn't have to lead.
Yeah, so how will they play it? Rush now goes by. Oh, and Wells almost ran into the back of Texter there. Has to slide back to 4th. So Rush is going to try to lead off of turn 4. It has not worked yet. 2 laps to go at this juncture. Will Texter try to take the lead? Will she hang back? Nope, she's going for it.
Once again, easy at the start-finish line. These riders will know that. They know that Shayna Texter can win this race with no problem running 2nd off of turn 4. They're going to have to be aggressive, find a way to move her out of the line and put her back in the back of this field where she's 4th, 5th, or 6th.
So Texter leads right now on the backstretch. Rush is going to make another move. So is Avery. And Dan Bromley there as well on the number 1. Whoa, Bromley comes together with his teammate. And remember, at our last race at Black Hills, actually, Texter ran in on Bromley. He wasn't happy. He took a hand off the bars, so no love lost between the Red Bull KTM riders, and 1 lap to go. They've got Texter pinned back in 5th.
Rush to the lead. Dan Bromley from nowhere up to 2nd.
He has been consistent this year, but it is obvious he wants his first win of the season and is the aggressor. He's all over Rush. We head to the backstretch. Meanwhile, Texter back in 5th. Is there anything she can do? Stallings, hand off the bar. His engine is let go. Here it is in a 3-4 for the last time.
Bromley to the lead. Rush. Shayna Texter up to 3rd. What can she do coming off turn 4?
She has been magic off of 4 all night, but can she pass 2 riders? Bromley aiming for his first victory of the year, but is leading where he wants to be. A charge from both riders. Rush, Texter from 3rd to 1st, and she steals the win in Sacramento.
Wow. Into turn 1, Shayna Texter was 5th place. Off of turn 2, she was still 5th. By the time she gets back to the start-finish line, she wins this race.
So Bromley has the lead, maybe not where he wanted to be. Rush tried it, but look at Texter.
As soon as both those riders got side by side, that punched a bigger hole in the air. Shayna Texter, great drive down the front straightaways, able to clear them both. Bromley goes from leading this race with 200 yards to go, finishes 4th. Doesn't even get on the podium.
We'll give you the rush on board. First, you're going to see him try to get Bromley, and Texter's right there waiting to pounce, and there she goes.
See, Avery there just clipped Bromley for the last podium spot.
Dan was definitely frustrated, but as we said, it's a game of chess. Bromley took the chance of leading into 3 and 4, gets bumped off the podium. Texter from 5th to 1st on the last lap. What a race. Let's send it to Kristen with our winner.
Shayna Texter with her 3rd win of 2019 tonight here on the Mile. Shayna, you had such a good line going into 3 and even better drive coming out of 4. How did you find that, and how much did it help you here?
I just was trying to miss the bumps, really was all it was. I was trying to give up a little bit of entrance speed, which you saw a lot of the guys passing me going in, but I felt like I was a lot smoother through the middle and getting them off the corner. Just a great drive, and man, my Red Bull KTM is just working so good back by Roof Systems. I can't thank the team enough. We came so close at Rapid City, so to get the job done tonight, it's just so special.
There's definitely some elevated racing out there. How would you describe how the other singles riders, including your teammate Dan Bromley, raced you?
Honestly, you know, I can't give my hats off enough to Mikey Rush and Tristan Avery. They raced me clean the entire race. You know, unfortunately, my teammate punted me off the groove coming to the white flag and made me work a little bit harder for this one, so it's a little bit extra special.
Oh, okay. Got 2 competitive riders in the same team. Hey, here's why Bromley wanted to win. He's 7 down on Gauthier. Might have been the points leader if it had all worked out. Rush is 3rd and moving up based on his strong finish tonight. Let's send it back to Kristen.
Mikey Rush with 5 podiums this season. Mikey, a lot of draft passing out there. How did you time those passes?
Just trying to lack a little bit in the middle of the corner to get a good enough gap to just get a good drive coming up to him to do the pass. But it was pretty difficult, so I was getting good drives in the far corner over here, but the other side, coming off of turn 4, I was struggling a lot, so I was just trying to hit my marks over there and be real smooth, but it was pretty difficult, and Shayna and Tristan were awesome tonight, but I couldn't do it without my team, RMR Racing, American Honda, everyone, thank you.
Final podium spot looked like it might be Bromley here on the number 1, but look at Tristan Avery working the draft right there. Able to steal the final podium spot, his 1st of the year.
Tristan Avery up here. Now, Tristan, earlier in the day, you actually told me that you were considered the miler because you're so good on these mile tracks. What made you so good out here tonight, and what enabled you in those final laps to maintain your track position?
The last final laps, just trying to stay consistent and smooth. I really like this place, always have. Got my 1st podium here and have really good history here, so being able to get a podium here tonight really means a lot to me, and I've only had 1 podium last year, so it's pretty good.
So Shayna Texter regains her form in the miles, even able to do the fist pump in the tuck across the finish. We're going to transition to our AFT Production Twins class. Shayna's brother Corey, the points leader there, and we'll unleash them on the mile next. American Flat Track on NBCSN is brought to you by Indian Motorcycle. Be legendary. By Vance & Hines, the presenting sponsor of AFT Twins. By American Flat Tracker Clothing Company. Find your groove at AmericanFlatTracker.com. Production Twins class of American Flat Track. This man, Corey Texter, started the year with a win streak, but the Black Hills Harley-Davidson team, they're putting together some good bikes. James Rispoli, the 71, Dalton Gauthier, the 122, and a great challenge for Texter with those 2 riders. A 3-rider pack throughout the race.
These 3 riders would get away early. We see Gauthier behind Texter off of turn 2. Get a good run. Be able to pass Corey Texter down the back straightaway, entering turn 3 on the outside. And from there, he would go on to win this race.
And you got Rispoli right there as well, looking to pounce. So Texter had the edge at everyone at the beginning of the year. This is going to be big for Gauthier, who is, by the way, yes, also your points leader in the singles division. There's a legendary Terry Vance and Robbie Bobby, the crew chief for Gauthier, and they are pumped because their man has his 1st win of the year in Production Twins, also the 1st ever win for that Black Hills Harley-Davidson team. Texter gets pushed back to 4th. Celebration begins for Gauthier. Yeah, here it is. Robbie Bobby is fired up. Go take a ride on that thing. You win in the Sacramento Mile. That's something worth celebrating. Texter still has a solid points lead over Ryan Barnes. Colton Carlisle, the Estenson Yamaha former singles class champion, is third. Gauthier is fifth right now. Let's go to our race winner.
The whole Vance and Hines crew, everybody at Harley and Black Hills Harley-Davidson put me on this awesome bike, and it was working really great tonight. I got off to a good start, just what I wanted, and I think I ran behind my teammate for about a lap or two, and then made quick work of him, and he was riding really good too. So passed Corey around the outside, I think, in turn 3, and just set sail. I just did consistent laps and tried to do my own race, and yeah, I think the rest of the season is going to go really good.
We get ready for the Twins main event here. First, though, Dunlop Tire Talk. A little bit different situation when you're on a big, fast racetrack like this.
Yeah, usually the riders have the choice between the Dunlop R5 or R8, but here at Sacramento, because the racetrack is so abrasive, it's mandatory. They have to run the R10 because over a 25-lap period, the R8 could not last. So because of that, no tire choice. All the riders will be on the Dunlop R10.
Level playing field then going into this main event. Jared Mees said he was waiting for the miles to try to make that last push to the title. Can he get the win over your series leader, Briar Bauman? What about Sammy Halbert and the Harley Boys? Stay with us. The highly anticipated main event for the Twins class in the Law Tigers Sacramento Mile. But first, a pre-race report from Kristen.
On the podium in Black Hills, Bronson Bauman told me with so much conviction that he wants to prove he belongs on this team. Earlier in the day, he explained to me what he meant by that. He said that social media has been really critical of him. They've said the two brothers under one tent is for show and that other riders may be more deserving of this. But Bronson said, I am here to chase a championship. He said today that I walked into the Sacramento Mile and saw my name on the side of the Indian motorcycle hauler. I want to stay here. So guys, this team has something to prove. They will be fighting for every inch and every position on track. Bronson Bauman on the second row here tonight.
Well, he was second at our last race behind his teammate and his brother, Briar Bauman. They've been pretty easy on each other in some battles. Bronson got a win earlier this season. Jared Mees will not be easy on anybody tonight.
Such a critical race for Jared Mees. Coming off of a fall last race, needs to get back to his winning ways to have a chance to chase down his teammate, Briar Bauman, in this championship.
And would probably like some other riders to get in there and try to finish in between them. Maybe Brian Smith, the master of the mile, has been very quiet this year, but on the big track, they got that Howerton Crosley machine with the Kawasaki engine. They're usually strong on these tracks. We'll see what the number 4 is capable of. So here it is, the very historic, and let's just say it this way, the legendary Sacramento Mile, 25 laps. Your main event is underway. Mees with a good jump. Gonna lead them in to turn 1, and there's his old rival, Brian Smith, in second.
Brian Smith, Sammy Halbert in third, Briar Bauman all the way back to fourth on this start. Heading down the back straightaway, can Jared Mees start stretching it early?
Bronson Bauman in the 37 is in there as well. Also the 44, Brandon Robinson, has a pair of wins this year, and they're gonna start feeling things out early in one of the longest main events of the season.
We see off of turn 4 here. Jared Mees will lead the first lap. Brian Smith trying to tuck in behind him. These two, Briar Bauman and Jared Mees, in the semis, rode away from all the riders. Brian Smith knows he has to latch onto the rear tire of Jared Mees and stay there.
Yeah, so it was Smith actually on the factory Indian that Bauman's on this year, the last 2 seasons. He won a bunch of races, but he did not win the title either year. He wanted to go back to familiar territory. This is a similar machine that he won the 2016 title on, and he did it with a lot of wins in the miles. So we've been wondering all season, what can Smith do when we get to the big tracks? He's right in the hunt this time. You see him with the SNS on board off the back of Mees, and Brian Smith in the hunt.
See the draft here down the front straightaway. Brian Smith going for the lead. Takes it into turn 1.
There it is. So Brian Smith is back to life here at AFT, the Mile Master. Let's see what he can do with the 2 riders out front in the series. Mees, Briar Bauman up to 3rd, and the rest of the pack also right there. Always close racing in the miles. Mees gave it a look there, AJ, but didn't choose to pull the trigger or couldn't get close enough to make it happen. And Bauman was close as well. Out of turn 4 we go. Let's send it back to Kristen.
Brian Smith has won here 7 times since 2011. He said trying out passes and playing with the draft has helped him. He said sometimes he'll let off to see if he can outwork someone or try out a different partner. He said when you show your cards, it's part of the strategy here too.
Yeah, but he went to the lead awfully quick here, Kristen, and Mies is just parked out on the rear tire, trying to return fire, and also the 69 of Halbert in contention as well. So is Mies going to be content to let Smith lead? Doesn't look like it.
Takes the lead into turn 3. I think Brian Smith knows he has to try to stay with them. They were so fast in the semis. Brian Smith has to go out there and try to lead this race, but Jared Mies retakes the lead. Now Briar Bauman sees his teammates starting to ride away. He's going to have to go quick.
And that's exactly what Mies wants, not only to lead, but to have some riders between he and Briar, but not for long. Bauman takes second away from Smith.
You can hear the throttle control on this Indian motorcycle. I love listening to it. You want to grab a handful of throttle, but you know if you do that too quick, it's just going to spin that Dunlop rear tire. He takes the lead into 3.
Unbelievable charge. So he has gotten past both Smith and Mies in the course of 1 lap. So Briar Bauman showing he can get it done on the miles. Can they start to pull away and make it a 2-rider showdown? Let's see if the veterans like Smith and Halbert, can they stay in contention? Whoa, Mies takes it away immediately.
We can see from that SNS onboard there that they're already starting to stretch it out. These 2 riders, even though passing each other back and forth, by doing that, they're still going to be able to pull the draft and break it away and make this a 2-rider race for the win.
Yeah, so it's going to get desperate back there with Smith, Halbert, 37 of Bronson, Bauman right there, Davis Fisher also in the 67. All those riders going to have to hustle. They do not want these 2 to break away.
See Jeffrey Carver there in 7th. See Brandon Robinson in 8th, but these 2 right here, the Indian Factory teammates, starting to stretch it out a little bit. Jared Mies really wants to set his pace, make Briar Bauman use up that rear tire more than he wants to.
And a look over the shoulder from Mies. I've got to wonder here, AJ, I don't think he wants to pull away from the rest of the pack. He needs points. He needs other riders in the group. And he's actually slowed it up enough. And here comes Smith and the rest of the cavalry. Bauman says, I can't play these games. I got to go.
That's the problem on a mile, especially here at Sacramento. You can try to slow down the pace, but Briar Bauman, he doesn't care. He's going to ride away from Jared Mies here. He's going to lead lap number 8.
Okay, and a couple of bike lengths lead. Can he get far enough out to break the draft, though?
I guess we're going to find out here. I mean, it's tough. I think these 2, they're starting to stretch it out. You see, I think you called it exactly right. Jared Mies needs riders in between both of them to try to gain points, but Briar Bauman doesn't care, and we can already see pulling about a 30 bike length gap over Brian Smith.
Right, so there it was. There was an attempt by Mies. It's not going to work, and a mistake by Halbert going way wide here on the Vance & Hines Harley-Davidson. Let's see if he can get these spots back coming out of the corner.
See that? Just a small mistake, a little too deep into turn 3. Just like that, 3 spots are by him.
Mies back to the lead on Bauman as they have pulled away from Smith and the rest of the field. So it could be one-on-one between the riders first and second in the series. Bauman sticking right with him.
I feel like at this point now, Jared Mies knows, okay, I can't slow the pace up enough. We're going to ride away from these guys. So now the important thing is I have to go win this race. I have to figure out where my bike is quick. Can I lead off turn 4 and hold off Briar Bauman to the line?
Shout out to the 67, Davis Fisher, really coming on strong as of late. Now, he had a big crash at the last race. Wasn't his fault. He was avoiding the down Mies. Purposely went up into the air fence so he wouldn't hit Mies, but he has been riding beyond that result very well lately, and he's in contention for a podium now as we go back to the lead duo. Mies out front, you see the yellow helmet, and right on him is Bauman.
You know what I really loved? Watching into turn 1 there, you can see the riding styles. Jared Mies rides the bike in very straight, doesn't get that rear tire out there. Briar Bauman, he loves to send it down in the corner. We see here on the outside into turn 3.
Oh, you saw it coming, and there it is. Let's see if it's enough. No, to make the pass stay. Oh, no. Carver. Remember, he had the problem in his semi. He barely made the main. They got it fixed, but he's got trouble again. So scratch one of the usual suspects up front on a mile race from this one as we near the halfway point.
Once again, you see there, Briar Bauman just really tossing that Indian motorcycle into the corner. Jared Mies riding it nice and straight.
Bronson Baumann in fourth, all over the number 4 of Brian Smith, who's in third. Davis Fisher not going anywhere, staying in contention. So a couple of different battles to watch here. They are ganging up on your 2016 champion Brian Smith. Together, Baumann and Fisher.
Davis Fisher, great move to get into fourth here, but back up to the lead. Jared Mees maybe dropping the hammer here, trying to get away from Briar Baumann.
All right, second half of the race starts now. Can Baumann keep Mees in sight? Usually in the mile tracks, it's a close finish. There were a few races at the beginning of last season where Mees was just so dominant, no one could stay with him. Can he get back to that form? A little bit of lap traffic here, not enough to really impact the race. Also getting in this fight now, the 20 of Vanderkoy, also on a Harley. He's caught up to this group, Smith, Fisher, and Baumann. And let's get a report on the Baumann brothers from Kristen down trackside.
Mr. Baumann, Briar and Bronson's dad, was trackside today. When a rider mentioned the track deteriorating, he said, perfect. When it gets rough, it's perfect for the Baumanns. This is right up their alley, guys.
Well, it is, but obviously Jared Mees pretty darn comfortable in these conditions. Kristen as well, as just a small gap he's opened up over Briar. How will Briar play this? How aggressive can he get? Is he still within draft distance, do you think, or is it starting to get a little difficult?
It's getting close right now. Briar Baumann knows he's going to have to put in a couple solid laps to try to get back to Jared Mees, but we see a 4-rider battle here. Fisher trying to get under Brian Smith the third. Looks like he's might have done it.
Wow, so Fisher, that would be huge for him. A couple of years ago was really a marked man as one of the hottest up-and-coming talents in this sport, and he's showing he still has it, moving up to third here in Sacramento. Can Mees maintain this lead over Baumann as we head to the final laps? Five to go, the Law Tigers Sacramento Mile. And just as quickly as it looked like Jared Mees was building an insurmountable lead, Briar Baumann making a run at him. And how about Davis Fisher? He has broken through in that battle for third. He's all by himself now. Fisher, 2015 champion, what's now known as a singles class, has never finished on the podium in the Twins division. Tonight could be the night he's left these riders behind. Still good racing back here, though. Smith trying to hold on. He had the podium at the Red Mile, our previous mile event this year. Bronson Baumann and Vanderkoy right there with him.
Fisher just on a smooth ride there. Not going to catch the two for the win, but a comfortable podium spot if he makes no mistakes.
Meanwhile, our leaders, it looks like Briar Baumann's not going anywhere. We thought Mees was building up a gap that maybe no one could overcome. But Briar's going to make a last-ditch run at it with 3 to go as you continue to watch this fight. There's Bronson in fifth, but Vanderkoy and that Harley-Davidson's doing everything he can to get around.
Into turn 3, Bronson Baumann's able to hold off Vanderkoy. A battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. The podium spot looks like it's gone, though.
Yeah, really impressed with what Fisher has been able to do. And look at the gap, though. So Fisher, in one way, a winner because he has gotten away from everyone else, but a huge distance he'd have to go to try to move up into first or second. So again, it's turned out to be the Factory Indians in a one-on-one duel. Briar Baumann in second on the 14. Jared Mees out front. Baumann's making Mees work for it here down the stretch.
Through 3 and 4. This is for the win. This is for the championship. Jared Mees knows he has to start closing the gap. He's got to win these races. 2 to go. That's still a big lead.
Yeah, just as quickly as Briar got the gap down, it looks like Mees has responded. Can Briar Baumann get close enough to be within the draft on either the backstretch or the front? He has had some heroic finishes this year. He got close coming out of turn 2.
He did on the SNS onboard here. Jared Mees into turn 3. It's still a pretty big gap. Briar Baumann is going to have to put in a perfect lap and a half here, but we see into turn 3, huge gain as he entered off of turn 4. He's got 1 shot, 1 lap to go.
Bubba Bentley, longtime crewman for Mees. These guys have been together through so many race wins and titles, including some at this racetrack. Baumann's throwing everything he has at it. It's as close as he's been since the halfway mark of this race. Maybe he now is in position to draft for the lead.
Here we go down the back straightaway. Jared Mees takes a look over shoulder. Here comes Briar Baumann into turn 3. looking to take the lead.
Remember, Shayna Texter went from 5th to 1st on the last lap in the singles class. Breyer's got to pass one man, but it's the man who's won the last 2 championships in this. It's not going to be easy. Let's see if Mees can cover the line. Here comes the charge from Bauman. Not going to happen. Jared Mees is back on top. In American Flat Track, he takes the Sacramento Mile. And he knew when we got to the stretch of the big tracks, he would be the man to beat, and he lived up to that today. Breyer gave it a shot, couldn't get him. Davis Fisher, great run to finish up in 3rd. Congratulations between these two. They've always been pretty tight off the racetrack. Mees' crew is happy to reclaim, at least for this weekend, the top spot in this sport. Fisher, first ever podium in the Twins class. Bronson edges out Smith. Vanderkoy, Halbert, Brandon Price, the rookie, good job inside the top 10. Ronnie Jones still got it, 50+ years old, inside the top 10. Here's the Motul move of the race, AJ. It's Jared Mees on the run.
Jared Mees was trying to back Breyer Bauman up to the pack, knew that he couldn't do that anymore, had to take the lead here. Once he got the lead, he put in a solid mid-race run to be able to put a gap between him and Breyer Bauman, and we saw at the line, Breyer could not get around Jared Mees. 44th career win. Let's send it to Kristen with Jared on the podium.
Jared Mees with 4 wins here in 2019. Kenny Tolbert, his mechanic, all smiles over in the corner down there. The whole team surrounding you. Now, Breyer Bauman even giving him some congratulations. You're coming off a finish that you're obviously disappointed in at Black Hills Speedway. What does this win now say about your team and your resiliency, and what does it say to the rest of the paddock?
Yeah, I mean, you can't do nothing about what happened last week. You just got to move forward. And, you know, I knew the miles were going to be, you know, probably a little bit more in my favor, just experience and, you know, good, strong bike and great team behind me. And, you know, I can't say enough for the Indian Motorcycle, Rogers Racing. You win races and you're like, yeah, the bike could have been a little bit better here, a little bit better there. And I really don't know how much more better this bike. It's very, very rare that you get like a perfect tuned motorcycle for a racetrack. And this was one of those nights where, man, the bike was so good. It was so hooked up. I could carry good corner speed. It absorbed the bumps great. It was just a phenomenal night for us.
Here are the point standings now. Not a huge gain for Mees, but definitely showing that with these mile races down the stretch, he's going to be hard to contend with. Bronson is 3rd in the points. Robinson, who missed a race with injury, is 4th. Carver did not finish tonight. He's 5th. Let's go back to the podium.
Breyer, in those closing laps, it looked like you had something for Jared Mees, but what did you need more of?
Just experience, something you can't buy, rent, you know, steal. You just kind of have to go out there, put your laps in, and I feel like I did that tonight. I kind of learned a little bit about him, tried to speed the pace up early on, but yeah, he was so good all night tonight. He's riding really well. His team is on point, along with my team. So all in all, Indian Motorcycle, powered by Progressive, the whole team works so well today. We were kind of considered not a miler, and now we're kind of the guy pushing him on the miles. So great day. Can't wait to get to Peoria, and I just can't wait for the next mile. Just learn some more.
Yeah, well, there'll be plenty of opportunities to learn because, again, 5 of the last 7 events are miles, including this one. And it's Jared Mees carrying the checkers. American Flat Track on NBCSN is brought to you by Vance & Hines, the presenting sponsor of AFT Twins. By Roof Systems of Dallas, Texas, the entitlement sponsor of AFT Singles. And by American Flat Tracker Clothing Company. Find your groove at AmericanFlatTracker.com. Sunoco Go the Distance Award. We're totaling up all the miles from practice, qualifying, and racing this year. Bronson Bauman has been the best this season. Mees and Breyer have had crashes and mechanical issues at some of the races this year. How about Davis Fisher, first ever podium in the Twins class?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Davis Fisher, only a few days ago, rode into the air fence to avoid hitting Jared Mees at the Black Hills Speedway. The sacrifice that you made there, almost paying off a little here tonight with your first career podium. What a special night for you. What enabled you to work your way through the pack?
I got off of 8th, and I was like, oh, I can't drive past these guys. I had a little bit down on horsepower, but I was able to put in some good corner speed and work my way through the pack. And by halfway, I was in 3rd. I was like, all right, hold this together, Davis, hold this together. And it just paid off. It feels so good. I can't thank my sponsors, Bob Lanfear's Beaverton Motorcycles, for coming out. He doesn't come out much for a race, but hats off to him and Dick Wall 60. Thank you, guys.
Next race, we're going to change it up completely to the legendary Peoria TT.
Henry Wiles out with injury, has won the last 14 years there. Who can step up and become the king of Peoria?
Wow, it's going to be totally wide open. We'll have it Saturday, August 31st, 7 p.m. right here on NBCSN. What a great race tonight. Shayna Texter, Dalton Gauthier with the wins in the singles and production twins class. Jared Mees back on top in twins. For AJ Allmendinger and Kristen Beat, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching.